I won't speak the truth. I just want to start with this screen of all the parties they so far know about. The reason why I'm starting with that is because it just goes to show you this is just having parties during lockdown which weren't meant to take place, and these are the only ones they found out about at the moment, about something really, really small, really having a party. But then imagine this is just this. This is the microcosm of a small bit of a scandal. Imagine the other things they're getting up to. We already know about the VIP lane, PPE, MPs giving their fellow friends. Well, we all know that this happens. People in power, no matter what level it is, no matter where it is, not just government, it's everywhere. There'll always be this abuse, this favoritism and this kind of thing. That's nothing new. We all know about that. It's not part of humanity, but it's part of trained humanity, because when we're children, we don't do these things. We're subtly trained. I don't know where it is, whether it's school, whether it's TV, whether it's learning through friends. I don't know which. When we get the idea that we can, when we have a bit of power or control over other people, maybe that's the problem, because we're allowed to have that idea of power over other people, even though we're all meant to be equal, all born intrinsically the same as each other. There is no just because you have a crown doesn't actually make you more powerful. That's just an illusionary thing that we bought into, which brings me to the next subject that I saw about. One of the parties was the eve of Prince Philip's funeral, and they've had to apologise to the Queen and all this stuff, and they made a big deal out of this as if but the thing is, what I don't like about it is you're singling out one individual, making out that their life is more important than the hundreds or thousands that may have been dying during all these other parties. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13 up on the screen of different parties that they know took place or allegedly took place. On those days, there would have been a few hundred, maybe even 1,000 people dying. They've apologised to the Queen for having that party on the eve because of national mourning. But what about all the people? Are they going to apologise to the individuals that died on those particular days, to their families? Because their lives are just as important as Prince Philip or the Queen's and etc. Because everyone's meant to be equal. Don't we all believe in equality? We forget these things all the time. And then it brings me to our last thing about Novak Djokovic, where the Australian government has refused his visa, even though they gave it to him in the very first place, and he's went to court and he got it overturned, but now they've taken it away from him again, so he has to fight it again. It's interesting that they do it on the weekend, so now I assume he's going to go back to detention and spend the whole weekend there because nothing's going to happen until Monday. On purpose? If it was David Beckham, I wonder whether they would have been treating him the same way. I don't know what it is these days, but Australia seems to be very supportive of America and Britain, when it comes to war and these kinds of things. They weren't that of a major world player when it comes to, say, America and Europe and stuff like that. But nowadays they seem to be the next in line before France and Germany when it comes to backing up the UK and the US. I don't know why they're making such a big deal out of this, of someone who doesn't have COVID-19, and I don't believe in Australia or in Serbia you have to have the vaccination by force. So what's the big problem here? When he doesn't have it, it doesn't matter. So are you saying because he hasn't had it, right? Anyway, I don't want to go into it because that's not the important thing. The important thing that I wanted to mention about this is they're all, they had tennis players, they're asking their opinions about it, and then trying to skirt around it, but they're trying to at the end saying, well, it's better if you have the vaccination, and and people like jumping on this of it's all Novak's fault for being well, they don't call him an anti-vaxxer, but on that verge. But all these people aren't worried about the suffering that's happening every single day. They all want to put a bit of point that someone's not taking a vaccine for a mildly serious coronavirus, which is in the family of the common cold or flu, which, it's killing millions of people, but the millions of people that suffer every single day, that are going to suffer once this is all finished, they've suffered in the past, present and the future. Those people are living in poor countries, those people who are being abused, those people who, when they go up to someone and they tell someone in power there's a problem, and the person in power just, rather than sort the problem out, attacks the person who came to them. You know, in the case of Jimmy Savile, in the case of Jeffrey Epstein, in many of these cases, these children that are being abused in churches in the past, in Northern Ireland, all this kind of thing, all the children out there that are suffering in poor countries where the infrastructure is left in the way, wars going on, debt being charged by rich countries when they help them out, all this suffering that's going on. Where's people's points about that? All they're worried about is a man that doesn't have COVID and didn't want to have a vaccine. What a bad man he is for doing that. But I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I just want to give up because it seems impossible. Humanity. This is just like with these parties, you're seeing a small part of corruption and willful conspiracy and willful ignorance of knowing that the system that we live within and that we're perpetuating, all of us, is not working. And that's just a small amount of it. And imagine you scale back on a camera like on a David Attenborough thing, and you see some ants, and you pull back and you see the whole of the earth in CGI. It'd be around. And you see the small microcosm of this corruption of these parties, and then you magnify everything around the world, all that's happening. The suffering and humanity just not really working for each other. I don't know. I don't think I'm ever going to see a solution in my lifetime. I don't think I'm even going to see it in my children. I don't think even they're going to see it in their lifetime. Maybe no one's ever going to see it, which is a shame, really, because nothing really stopping us, because we have the potential. We've been given the free will to do whatever we like in this place that we found ourselves upon, and we decided to play a game of Monopoly with our lives and each other's lives, and wear costumes and crowns and things, and pretend to be something more than we're not. Take care, Daisy. God bless and peace.